Right now, if I said I'm tryna love you right now, I don't wanna wear this, tell me, believe me. I'ma prove it to you, shawty, when you see me. You gon' see, you ain't never gotta worry about the lying. All that fake love, even about that fake stuff. Promise I'm here for you long as you really riding. She a diamond in the rough, one of a kind. I could tell from the moment that I first met you. Keep it real to the soul, ain't nothing that's woo. Open up if I got you, I swear I hold you. I swear I hold you.
Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Yosmi, and today I'm going to talk about my YouTube channel. What is going on? Guys, I am so nervous to talk about this topic because I've never gone into detail about what happened to me in the past, and for some reason I'm just really nervous to talk about it. Today I'm going to talk about my bullying story. I wanted to come on here and talk about this because maybe I can help some of you that are going through something similar or are going through this right now. But I just want to say, if you are getting bullied, it is not you, it is them. Usually someone who bullies someone else is dealing with something within themselves that they haven't faced yet. So it could be they're either going through something at home, they're feeling insecure, so they feel like they need to put someone else down to make themselves feel better. It could also be that they are jealous of you. There's so many other reasons as to why a person might be a bully, but just know that it is not you at all. Now, I'm so nervous! Guys, why am I nervous? So I was bullied all of my life throughout grade school, but it got really bad in middle school and high school. So in middle school, I was going through a lot. My parents were getting a divorce. They were closing down their restaurant. I know, a little bit personal. So I think I was really upset, so I did not talk to anyone at school. So I would sit by myself. Oh guys, why am I crying? I wouldn't talk to anyone in school. I would literally go straight to school, sit in class, and I barely talked to anyone. I maybe talked to a few people, but I was really quiet, so I just preferred to be alone. In most of my classes, I would just sit alone. I only had like maybe 2 or 3 friends that I would talk to on a regular basis, but other than that I was like kind of to myself. In middle school, I remember I got the part of Belle in Beauty and the Beast, and everybody would be like, oh, she's not pretty enough to be Belle. I also got made fun of a lot because of the things I would wear. In middle school, I didn't really have a choice of what I wanted to wear. During that time, like, my parents, you know, they were struggling to make ends meet, so I wouldn't really have the money to buy like the newest things, like the newest trends. So I would come to school in my old clothes that were from like elementary school, and a lot of people would look at me and like, you know, would say stuff like, what is she wearing? Or for some reason I was really intimidated by a lot of the people in my grade. I was so scared of talking to certain people because I thought like, oh, I'm not cool, like I'm a loser, like no one's gonna want to talk to me. And because I was still going through my awkward phase, I just wasn't confident at all. Like, I just always put myself down. The biggest thing that I was bullied for was for being skinny. I remember I used to go home and cry myself to sleep. Oh my gosh, why am I crying? I used to go home and just cry all the time because people would call me anorexic. Sorry guys, I just want to say that, you know, looking back at some of the things that were said in the past, like, I laugh at it, you know, like, we were all young, but for some reason, like, whenever I talk about people bullying me for my weight and being skinny, like, it kind of just hits like a trigger point. I don't know, it just kind of hurts because that's like the biggest thing that affected me and that really lowered my self-esteem. I remember I would wear like baggy clothes and big hoodies and big sweatpants to try to hide how I looked was really hard for me to deal with, especially since I was already going through a lot of stuff. Personally, it just really affected me, and I think that's one of the biggest reasons as to why I was scared to talk to people, because I thought they were gonna judge me and, you know, say something about my weight. And in high school, like, people would say the same thing, like, oh, she's gross, or like, oh, she's like disgusting. And, you know, for some reason, like, it just hurts, like, thinking about it, just because that was such like a dark time for me. And they said I looked like a walking stick, like a pole. And all of my life I've been insecure about my weight. I have a really fast metabolism, so I've always been naturally skinny all of my life. I used to be even skinnier. Right now I'm still skinny, but I'm actually like comfortable with how I am right now. But in middle school and high school, I was really skinny. People would ask me if I ate. People would wrap their hands around my wrists and say, oh my god, your wrists are so small. People would always ask me like, oh, do you eat? Do you even eat? Like, you're so skinny. And started to eat a bunch of junk to try to gain weight. I was definitely going about it the wrong way, but I was also really young, so I didn't really know how to properly gain weight. I tried so hard to gain weight, but nothing was working. At one point, I was just eating so much, but I was eating very unhealthy, so my stomach would start hurting. I stopped doing that because I realized how unhealthy I was. I remember there was this one incident where we were in class and I forgot what I was wearing, but these boys that would always make fun of me all the time, like always call me names behind my back, even though I was right there in the room and I could still hear them. I remember I got up because my teacher, he was passing out all these assignments. So when my teacher called my name, I stood up and I went to the front of the class to get my paper. And while I was walking back to my chair, these two boys that would always make fun of me were like, oh my gosh, she looks like she's gonna break. Like, she's so skinny. Like, she's too skinny. It's disgusting. And like, it was just the worst hearing that, just because I was so insecure about being skinny already. After that incident, I never wanted to get up in class, because every single time I would get up, you know, people would say stuff and people would whisper things, and it just didn't feel good. There were certain classes where I was comfortable being in, and then there was other classes where I just wasn't comfortable at all, because there were certain people in those classes that would always try to find something to say. One time I got these blonde highlights, and looking back at it now, it was a big mistake. But during that time, I really liked my highlights. I just turned 15. My mom finally let me dye my hair, and when I went to school the next day, all the boys were like, ew, like, what does she do to her hair? It looks gross. Like, you know, things like that, even though I'm right in the room and I can still hear them. So little things like that took a toll on me. I'm really sensitive. I'll admit, I'm a sensitive person, but in high school, I was way more sensitive, and I cared so much about what people thought of me, and it just felt like no matter what, I could never win. No matter what I did, people would still have something to say. I remember in one of my classes, we sat in rows of 2, and one day, the person that sat next to me wasn't there. This boy, who I used to have the biggest crush on, he came and he sat next to me on purpose, because he knew that I liked him in the past. So at the time, I didn't like him anymore, but he was basically trying to pretend like he liked me, to make fun of me, basically have all his friends laugh and be like, oh, she thinks that you like her, blah blah blah. But I already knew that trick, so I didn't fall for it. But I didn't have that many friends. I only had a few friends that I was like comfortable speaking to. I remember some of my friends at the time would sit with these other people who, you know, weren't the nicest people, but because I didn't want to sit by myself, I would sit there. I remember not even being comfortable to speak, because the minute I said the slightest thing, those people that didn't like me would just look at me like I was crazy. No matter what I did, I was always ridiculed, made fun of. Like, there's other people that thought I was weird because I was quiet. Then when I finally spoke, I was annoying. I didn't really have the greatest friends in high school, and I never really had someone that like defended me or like had my back. And when little things like that would happen and I was basically ridiculed or made fun of, no one would really say anything or have my back. They kind of just, you know, would let it happen. I just always felt like I didn't belong. And then the few people that I was comfortable with would hang out with these other people that, you know, weren't the nicest to me. Now that I'm older and wiser and way more confident than I was before, looking back now, like, those people, you know, they weren't really my friends. Like, I remember I had this one friend who would say things like, oh, you know, boys like me better than you because, you know. If you do have a friend that is putting you down, you know, it's time to snip, snip, cut, cut. It's clit. That's what I eventually did in high school. I remember there was this girl that spoke only Spanish, and she thought that I didn't speak Spanish, so she thought that I couldn't understand her. And while I was passing by, she literally started yelling from across the hallway like, she needs to gain weight, she needs to gain weight, she needs to have a big plate of mango and salami. And for those of you that don't know, mango and salami is a Dominican dish. So she thought that I didn't understand her, but I did. And right then, that ruined my whole day. And I think I would just let all these things get to me because I was so like insecure at the time and I just wasn't confident. One of my biggest issues is that I didn't know how to defend myself at the time. I would let people talk to me however they wanted to talk to me. People would literally say whatever they wanted to say to me and I didn't say anything. So I would hear all of these things, but I wouldn't say anything at all. I remember this guy would always come to class high all the time, and sometimes it would smell in the classroom and people would start laughing and saying, ew, it smells, like who smells, who stinks. And of course the boy who bullied me the most blames it on me and said that I smelled. So then everybody in the classroom started to think that it was me that smelled like that. I remember this kid that always bullied me would sit right behind me in class, and he would always say little commentary about me like, ew, she's too skinny, ew, she's ugly, like just random stuff. And I would hear it and I wouldn't say anything at all. I literally did not even want to make an Instagram account in high school because of how insecure I was and because I was scared that I would get judged by certain pictures that I posted, which is actually really ironic now because now I'm an Instagram influencer and I also model. So that's actually really ironic because I post so much now and I love to take pictures, but at the time I hated taking pictures because of how insecure I was and because of everything that people were saying at school. I remember I used to feel embarrassed talking about things like this because I was scared that people would judge me and that people would think like, oh, she's still living in the past. But no, I think this video will help other people. I want to encourage you guys to, you know, defend yourself, stick up for yourself. Don't let anyone intimidate you. That was one of my biggest issues, is that I would let everyone intimidate me. I was scared of everyone, so I was scared of sticking up for myself. If you are getting bullied, ignore them and talk to someone close to you. You will come out a stronger person out of all of this. I think my past is what made me stronger because now, like, I know how to defend myself, I know how to stick up for myself, and I'm way more confident now. If you want to talk to me or get some advice, you can email me at yosmis14@gmail.com, or you can DM me on Instagram at yosmi14. So yeah, that is it for this video, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye, guys!